Hello and welcome to another installment of Liberty Nation Swamponomics videocast. I'm Andrew Moran, Ellen's economics correspondent. Each week, I dive into the mores of top economic news stories and fish out compelling narratives, or I retrieve fallacies that have been accepted as conventional wisdom by the swamp creatures for years. This week, the everything shortage. Across the globe, everyone is demanding everything at the same time. This is leading to higher prices and shortages in many sectors, from food to energy to consumer goods. Even workers are hard to come by for desperate employers trying to resuscitate their companies. It is unclear as to when conditions will stabilize and normalize and return to pre-pandemic times. Until then, it would be appropriate to determine what you cannot find on store shelves, at restaurants, or even inside your firearms. Is it time to produce some hooch in your bathtub like James Cagney in the Roaring Twenties movie? If your local pub is dry, or the neighborhood liquor store is running out of your favorite brand of bourbon and brandy, you may have no other alternative. Or, if you must, you can sip on non-alcoholic substitutes. As alcohol selling establishments reopen their doors, demand is going through the roof, which comes as supply chain issues and logistical problems weigh on many of your favorite brands. Here's another product the world is dependent on just to survive morning commutes and stay awake past 2 o'clock at the office. Coffee. Brazil, the world's largest coffee producer in the world, has experienced 3 unbearable cold fronts so far this year as a polar air mass travels through many of the South American countries' key producing areas. In some cases, the brutally cold temperatures are damaging crops and trees. If farmers were to plant new trees, it would take up to 3 years to generate its output. You will need to endure those headaches and bad moods until conditions improve, or worse, drink that bad liquid euphemistically referred to as generic brand coffee. Liberty Nation's James Fight has been reporting extensively on the ammunition shortage. Since the start of the pandemic, there have been a record number 7 million new gun owners, as firearm sales have skyrocketed at an all-time high. This is resulting in shortage of ammo and causing headaches throughout the industry, from gun training facilities to law enforcement agencies. With a shortage and spiking prices of raw material such as copper and steel, companies are going to have to increase bullet prices to ramp up production. Little Fido may need to eat some of the food on your plate, since pet food shortages are on the rise across North America and parts of Europe. Because supply chains are getting stressed to the max by the coronavirus pandemic or even the aftermath, your cat or dog might be forced to eat your plate of green beans and Spam cans until conditions improve once again. And then there is the case of the American worker. There are a record 9.2 million job openings in the United States economy today. Desperate to fill their personnel, businesses are doing everything they can to attract workers. But in many states, people are not taking the bite. Companies are raising wages, offering generous benefits, and even paying candidates to apply for the job and sit down for an interview. What's happening? There are various factors, but one of the biggest hurdles is the federal government's lucrative and ultra-generous pandemic-related benefits. Even President Joe Biden conceded during a recent CNN town hall that extending unemployment benefits has
kept people from going back to work.
Higher price inflation and scarcity of goods. The post-coronavirus economy is still far from returning to the way things were before the COVID-19 public health crisis. Nobody knows when the market will get better. Some Wall Street analysts and economists say it could take up to 5 years for a return to some semblance of normalcy. Whatever the case may be, as the late John McAfee told Liberty Nation's Scott Cosenza on an edition of the Uprising podcast, it might be time for the public to stock up on peanut butter, raisins, and Glock 17s. That's it for me this week. Please read my full Swamponomics column, where I discuss the sizzling July jobs report, U.S. household debt, Fed tapering, and Senator Joe Manchin going Austrian. Thank you.
Who are we? We are Americans that believe in liberty. We are a project of the nonprofit One Generation Away. We are patriots who apply the founding principles to the issues of today.
And they keep moving the goalposts on us.
We are educators and commentators who love America and the Constitution. Who are we? We are Liberty Nation.